Let me tell you about the day when I decided to stop learning Croatian, just to give up on this language completely. And it's not for the reasons that you'll think. A lot of people say that Croatian is a very difficult language, and I would disagree. That Croatian is actually the most logical language I've ever tried to learn, apart from Esperanto. And I'm speaking as somebody who speaks, or used to speak, fluent Russian, pretty fluent German, and pretty fluent French, so I can do languages. Croatian is a language that is logical like no other living language I've ever met. If you learn tenses and declensions and all that, that's really hard, but I did that with Russian. But if you can do that, if you have that knowledge, the rest of Croatian is really, really easy. There are very, very, very few exceptions in Croatian. When it comes to reading Croatian, there is no language on earth that is easier than Croatian. And I learned this from my daughter at the age of, I think, about 3, when she learned the letters. And then she said, "Daddy, test me." And I said, "Can you write the word pas?" Means dog, P-A-S. She did it amazingly. Can you write the word sat, like time? And she did it perfectly. And then I said, "Can you do the word mačka, cat?" Perfectly. And then I decided to fast forward the process just to get the intellectual superiority back. How about strpljenja, patience? She did it perfectly. At the age of 3, she listened to it, she produced it. It was phenomenal. And she obviously looked at me like, "Dad, I can do this, what's wrong with you?" And I said, "Can you spell the word 8 in English? E-I-G-H-T. And that got her. And then she said, "Dad, your language is so stupid, Mummy's is so logical." And she was right. So if we have such a logical language that is phonetically so perfect, why is it that I gave up on learning Croatian rather than French, German and Russian? And there's a simple one-word answer to that: dialect. When I came to Croatia, I learned my Croatian in a cafe in Jelsa on Hvar. And I thought I was learning Croatian, but actually I was learning the local dialect, which is only spoken by about 2,000 or 3,000 people. When I went to Zagreb, I was studying real estate, and I met a client, and the client said to me, "What is the price of this real estate?" And in Croatian I said, "50 milioni." And the client said, "Sorry?" And I said, "50 milioni." And he said, "I don't understand." I said, "50 milioni." And he asked me to write down on a piece of paper what I was saying, and I wrote down 50,000, and he said, 50 tisuća." And it's at that moment I realized that everything I've been learning was not Croatian at all, but Jelsa dialect, which was only useful for maybe about 2,000 people. And the day I really gave up on it, I was in Split at a business meeting, this girl from Split, and for some reason we were talking about laundry, which is not a subject I talk about much. And she was talking about hanging out her washing, and she talked about štipunica, and it's a clothes peg. So I came home on the catamaran, and I was having a coffee with my mother-in-law, who doesn't speak any English. And I said, I learned a new word today. And she said, "What's that?" And I said, "Štipunica." And she said, "What's that?" Explain. And she said, "I don't understand." So I went and got a clothes peg from the terrace, and I said, "One of these." And she goes, "Štipalka." So if somebody who lives on an island and speaks the same language as somebody from Split doesn't understand the dialect, what hope is there for a Brit? Especially when in Zagreb, the word for clothes peg is totally and utterly different. And that's the moment I gave up on the Croatian language.